the first game that we'll go over on the episode today, it is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. So just to kind of give you guys an update on what these teams did last week, you had the Kansas City Chiefs. They won against the Philadelphia Eagles by the score of 42-30. Patrick Mahomes had a sensational game in that game. I believe he threw 5 touchdowns, 3 of which were to Tyreek Hill. And then to kick it over to Buffalo, the Bills just put an absolute beat down on the Houston Texans last week, shutting them out 40-0. It was just one of the most well-rounded efforts from a team that I've seen all this year. I mean, granted, Houston's not that good of a team, but still, when you shut them out and you score 40 points in the process, that is a very impressive win in my book. So, Kevin, just to kind of kick this over to you, this is the rematch of the AFC Championship from last year. This is a big game, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of offensive firepower from both teams in this game. Who do you think wins this game and why?
So, I mean, first and foremost, we have two of the strongest arms in the entire NFL going head to head once again. And we all know how last year's results ended up in Kansas City winning and going to the Super Bowl. Dude, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, you can make the argument that they are truthfully the two best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I am so excited for this matchup because both offenses have the potential to be electric. And the only downside I see here is the fact that Kansas City is going up against the best passing defense in the entire league in the Buffalo Bills. Now, that stat may be inflated because they have played a total of 3 average to below average quarterbacks. And by average, the only reason I say that is because they faced Tua for about 2 series before he went out. But they played Jacoby Brissett, and then they played that third string quarterback in Houston last week. So, I mean, like, overall, they have not necessarily played elite talent. And when they did play Ben Roethlisberger, Ben had a pretty shitty game as well. So, Patrick Mahomes is better than all of those quarterbacks assimilated together. And it's going to be a challenge for Buffalo as well. So, let's not get that twisted. I think that it's going to be a very close game. And I do think that the team that turns the ball over the most will lose. Obviously, it's usually how it works. But I think Buffalo wins this game for the sheer fact that this Kansas City defense is pretty bad in and of itself. So I think that they're going to be able to score a lot on Buffalo's side. And I don't necessarily know if Pat Mahomes is going to be able to combat the pass rush and the corners like Tre'Davious White on the Buffalo Bills all day long. I mean, granted, the Chiefs do get another weapon. I don't know how much of a weapon he is any longer, considering he's been out of the league more times than I can count in Josh Gordon. I don't know how viable he's going to be in Andy Reid's playbook, but overall, I will say that this is going to be a great game. I hope that this is probably going to be one of the games, if not the game of the year. I mean, when you talk about Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, you think about the score being upwards of 40-35 or something of that magnitude. But again, I will lean towards Buffalo winning this game between the spread of 3 to 7 points, mainly because Kansas City's home and because Buffalo's defense has not played against a talent offensively quite like Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. But I do still give the edge to Buffalo just because that Chiefs defense is atrocious.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor that I'm looking at in this game, it's actually one team against another team, and it'll be KC's offense against Buffalo's defense. And the reason why I point that out specifically is because I think Buffalo's offense is going to be able to score at will against KC's defense. KC's defense is just flat out bad. They've given up damn near 30 points in every game outside of the Browns game where I believe they gave up 29. But outside of that, they've given up 30 plus in every game. And I just think Josh Allen's going to have his way against that secondary. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen throws for 300, 350 yards against KC secondary just because they're that inept. But the main factor that I'm looking at is whether or not that Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to pass against this Buffalo defense. Buffalo has the best passing defense, like you mentioned, Kev. They've only given up, I believe, like 600 passing yards the entire
595.
Season. Well, okay, I was off by 5 yards. So you're going up against NFL talent, and the fact of the matter is that you're holding teams in passing to 150 yards a game. That's extremely impressive. Now, granted, this is the best quarterback they will be going up against in Patrick Mahomes. And if I'm looking at KC here, I would just have to think that this offense is going to be able to find ways to find some exploits in this Buffalo defense. They were able to find those exploits in the AFC Championship game last year. I mean, they put an absolute beatdown on Buffalo in that AFC Championship game back at the beginning of the year. I think this is going to be a much more competitive game, though. It's just, it's whether or not that Buffalo's defense breaks. I definitely think that it will bend simply just because Patrick can just light it up at will. But if Buffalo defense bends, but it doesn't break, I think Buffalo could definitely win this game. If it breaks, though, I think KC has a very good shot to win this game. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. I definitely see this game being in the 30s for both teams offensively. I don't think this is a game where you're going to look at, wow, like these defenses really played phenomenal. I just because I think both offenses are going to be able to light it up. If I have to pick a team here, I've been kind of going back and forth on this one. I'm going to go with KC simply just because they are the home team. And I just think that when it's all said and done, I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the one making the mistakes in this game. I do believe that despite how bad KC's defense has been so far, I think they might force a turnover to against Buffalo in this game. And I think that might be the difference because I think KC might get the advantage of getting points off of turnovers. And I think that'll be enough just to get them by. I mean, if I had to throw a score on this thing, I think it's going to be very close. I don't think this is a game where either team smokes the other team. I think this is going to be possibly a 3 to 7 point game, but I do give KC the edge. If I had to throw a score, I'm going to say like 38 to 35. I really see it being this close, and I think this is going to be probably one of the best games that we will see throughout the entire year. Granted, it's only week 5, and we still have a long way to go, but this could potentially be one of the best games that we see all year, in my opinion.